Go ahead.
Sitaram, very good evening to you all. This is, thank you for tuning in to Channel 6. This program hosted by Swami Ramcharan at the Hindu Learning Center. This evening I have in the studio Swami Ramcharan, the head of the spiritual center. And tonight we're going to discuss a very important topic, create what you want in your life by using the Life Code. The Life Code series, a series of books that one can use to better improve whatever you want, create whatever you want in your life. Just think, if you want a beautiful home, a car, a proper family, wealth in your life, well, the Life Code series written by Swami Ramcharan has the ability to create it in your life. I don't want to say much more. I think Swami Ram would be the most capable person to tell you how you can use the Life Code series to create bliss in your life. Swami Ramcharan, thank you for being in this program.
Jai Sitaram. Joe, I'm very happy to be here once again in Guyana to launch my series of books. It's the first time I've brought so many books in the country at one shot. I've written over 100 books, and we never brought all those books before. We just brought the Patra and the Karmic book and the one that Life Code numbers that guide you on a daily basis and so on, based on your birthday. But now I've brought all the books, and we're doing this launching of the book at the Yana Center on Tuesday, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. So the reason why I brought these books and I brought all of these books to the people of Guyana is because I have been doing this for a while in the United States, the last 20 years, and have seen that people can create their own life and create their own happiness and so on. The universe, the earth is turning, the sun is moving every day, the moon is moving every month, and the sun is moving every day. But we have, as human beings, have the intelligence to create our life. And we have practiced that intelligence in the last million years or so, to the point where we are at the point where now we can actually have this science to control our life. And this science I've developed is called Life Code series. Life Code series is a science based on Vedic mathematics, which is an ancient mathematics system that actually helps you to calculate your emotions, your feelings, your future, your past, your present, and you're able to tell ahead of time whether the marriage is going to be bad or the home is going to be a lucky home that you move into, or whether you have problems with the children coming up, or if your children is going to do well in school and so on. I'm sure that every one of you would like to know that. Every one of you would like to know, for example, that for sure that your son is going to graduate from college, or your daughter will stop staying away from school and skipping classes and so on. There's a way to stop all of this, and if you have knowledge of it, you can actually change it. So Life Code series, Life Code, which is the code of life, was developed by me in 20 years ago, and we have already helped over 50,000 people with this in the United States. Being that I'm from Guyana, I want to be able to bring this science to you guys and for you to use it in your life to help you. There's no religion in it. Just because I'm dressed as a Swami doesn't mean it's a Hindu thing. It's for all race, color, creed, all types of people. All religions can use it. It's purely based on mathematical formulas or mathematical calculations. And so if you're able to do this by yourself, you can create what you want, you can create your desire. For example, if you want a new house, it will tell you, for example, when you're going to have that new house. If you want to go to the United States and you're not getting through with your papers or your immigration papers, it will tell you when you should go to get through, and so on. It will tell you when you should go to court to win that case. It will tell you also, for example, if the person you plan to marry, if there's going to be a divorce in this marriage. It might sound impossible. It might sound like I'm selling magic, but it's not really. It's really a mathematical system that has been developed. It's called a new. It's coming close to being the new quantum math technology, that's really going to help you to change your life. So this is the kind of science that we've been waiting for. This is the kind of opportunity we've been waiting for to help you to make your life better. Now, if you know ahead of time that you are going to get the job that you had an interview for, you're better more prepared. If you know ahead of time that your boss is going to give you a raise next year, you won't bother him this year. If you know ahead of time that the house that you're going to move into, someone will get sick, you will avoid it. This is the science that we've been waiting for. This science was practiced by ancient sages and rishis and so on. And this science is spellbinding. It's actually it's fascinating because you can actually know if the person in the hospital is going to come out of the hospital. Isn't that wonderful? This is the kind of, my dear brothers and sisters, of science that I'm trying to bring to Guyana. I'm hoping that all of you will show up at the book reviews and the book launching on Tuesday at the Humana Center next to Pegasus at 11 o'clock.
5. Actually,
11 to 5, actually.
Luncheon is 5.
Launching at 5, and we'll be there from 11 o'clock in the morning if you want to come and talk to me. But launching is at 5. We'll have a little talk and we'll explain everything to you. All free of charge. There's no charge. Okay? So with great love and respect, I welcome all of you to this science.
Swamiji, there's an old saying, whatever the mind can perceive and conceive, that's what one can achieve. I'm just meaning to say that whatever you want to create in your life, you just have to think it.
Well, of course, a good question, Joe, because what happens is that if you look around you, the telephone, the table, the roads, the cars, the houses, it was created by man. It was created from the conception of man's mind. Man is the creator. You are the creator. In other words, Brahma, the creator in Hinduism, exists within you. You are the one who has created that shirt that you're wearing because you bought it and you decide to wear it. If you decide not to wear it, you will not have the shirt. So we have to realize that we are the creator of our life. We create everything in our life. And if we can control that creation, we can create and get what we want. Exactly.
So Swamiji, so let's say someone just got married and they want to create greatness in their life. They want to have a proper home, cars, good business. They don't know how to do it, but they would like to do it. They see themselves 10 years from now living in a beautiful home. How do they get there?
Well, that's where the calculations come in, Joe. You actually can calculate a number, which is called a life code number, and if you take the life code number 5, for example, and you add it to 4, you will get 9. 9 is known as the last digit of the real numbers. So the last digit of the real number, this being 9, means that at the end of something. It means that if it comes to 9, that means that that marriage will come to disaster. Therefore, there will never be children and happiness, and there'll be sickness, and there'll be no cars and houses, happiness, and so on. So, but if the 5 person was to marry a person for a number 3, for example, a code number 3, that comes out to an 8. So 5 and 3 is 8. So if you get 8, the person is going to have cars, probably Mercedes-Benz, BMW, big house. They're going to have lucky children. They're also going to be very wealthy and so on. That marriage is known what you call as a prosperous marriage. So as you see, if we know ahead of time and we can combine the codes properly, then we can avoid disasters.
Okay, so what I'm alluding to, now, as a teenager, you're 17, 18, you want to marry a girl that will be compatible to you.
Right.
You want a girl that will motivate you and will create success in your life.
Right.
Now, how do I find a girl that can create that happiness and that success for me? Can you provide, or can you give the secret as to how to find a perfect wife?
Yes, but that's the life code numbers according to your birth date. When you're born on a certain karma to attract certain people. Now, the teenager guy will attract many women, of course, and they'll have lots of friends and so on. And then, there's what you call the dating thing and so on. So it's not like matching. If people can think that you're insinuating matching, but it's not matching. It's just you're going to meet all the different people in your life. But you don't know which one is the right one.
That's the point. How do I know who is the right person?
Right. So that's where you come into what you call the life code. We have to call a marriage life code. And in the marriage life code, you check the birth date of the person, the birth date of the girl, and the guy, and you match it. Once you come to that code, then you are able to match it properly so that it will bring success to the marriage. Now, if he is still in love with that person, but it comes out to a bad code, let's say, there are still things that can be done to correct it.
Because Swamiji, what has happened in this first in Guyana society, a lot of domestic violence, people are abusing their wife, sometimes wives are abusing their husband, and when you see this girl for the first time, you think she's the best girl ever. Then 2-3 years down the line, she's not so good. Or you marry a husband, and 2-3 years down the line, he's not as good as you perceive him to be when you met him first.
Right.
Now, how could I find someone that, for my entire life and her life, we live in harmony together? Do you have such a recipe?
This is where it helps, Joe. And what happened now is I had a couple, they got married, a very perfect match. They got married, and they're doing very well for the first year or two, and they decide to buy a house. So they happen to buy a house that's very negative. So all of a sudden they enter into this house, and the two of them changes. They start to forget each other, they start to pay less attention to each other, they start to quarrel and fight and stay apart, don't sleep together and so on. And then they come to see me and say, Swami, we were doing very well for the last 2-3 years in our marriage life. All of a sudden things have changed. I look into it, I check the house and so on, and right away I see that the house what they moved into was bad. So I tell them, okay, we have to correct it, or we have to sell their house or whatever. And they go and they do that, and their life changed completely back to the way it was, normal and everything. Now the house could affect you. Now also if they're forgotten each other and so on, like how you said, there are things that are happening in your life, like for example the year code that might come in, or someone may come stay with them. If a person comes to stay, the other person in that house, it changes the whole code. It changes the whole energy, right? The group of people in that house have a certain code. So you'll find sometimes a sister-in-law moves in to the house and changes the whole scenario.
So, Swamiji, now having overcome that hurdle, you found the perfect wife now. Now we have kids. Do you want to have kids that will be educated?
Right.
You don't want kids that will be
Right.
drug addicts and all the different that will malaise themselves all day long. You want kids that will enhance you, will
Right.
enhance the world. How can we have as kids? I mean, what could you tell me or tell the public?
Well,
that we can have
I
kids?
think most of your audience knows out there that in Hinduism they check when a kid is born. They check to see if the kid is born on a certain date and everything that can create deaths, can create sickness and so on. Well, we call it mula in Hinduism, but whether it's Hinduism or not, the fact is that when the moon is a certain position and the sun is a certain position, that determines the life of the child from the moment of birth. So what happens now, if you are aware because of the life code, you're aware that the child is born under a bad number like 9, we mentioned not 9 is a bad number, and 6 a bad number. It means that there's going to be some distress that the child is going to bring into the family. It can cause separation with the parents or some health problems and so on. You can actually take steps to stop that. So what happens now is that the children now are born in negative things can be corrected. Now let's say a child is born, for example, as a number 5, right? It means that the child it gets bored easily, likes to be occupied, and also is very hyper. So you see the child being hyper as the child grows up, and you're wondering why. So you think that there's some sickness, you go to the doctor and says, why is this child hyper? Meanwhile, the child is born under this code where the child has a lot of energy. So if you don't know the code, you can actually mess the child's life up by thinking that this child is sick, when really it's not. Now let's say the child is born under a number 6 code. The child will argue with you a lot as the child grows up and so on. Or the child might skip classes, might skip school, might want to take classes. Is because you didn't know the code, so you never took steps to correct it. Whereas if you know the code ahead of time, that 6th child now can now become a powerful child.
So Swamiji, could I create a child of a particular nature based upon the relationship or based upon how the mother is treated during the gestation period? Could I create a child?
Yes, because if
Well,
you, if you will notice a child is born in a negative code, yeah, and it's all in the books and so on, the child is born in a negative code if the mother and father was having problems during the pregnancy. Like a fruit from a fruit tree. You know, you can't get an apple from a guava tree. You get an apple from an apple tree.
So you can create a child that will serve this world
Yeah.
based upon how you treat the mother during gestation period.
Well, that's how the ancient sages created powerful rishis and so on, powerful sages. They made their sons become sages because they would look at the movement of the moon and the movement of the sun and actually have their wife get pregnant at a precise time and to create a precise type of child. So you can actually do that. Of course, that's if the person is really into the codes and so on a lot. They can work with that out, and they can actually determine. Okay, if I decide to have a child who's going to become like a president of the country, you can actually create that child like that.
So you're creating your future here. Now you've moved from marriage.
Yes.
You can also create the state of mind of your child.
Exactly.
That your child will be successful. That your
Exactly.
child will be happy and joyful and be a meaningful person
Yeah.
to society.
Yeah, we create our problems, we create our suffering, we create our fortunes. So, of course, if you know ahead of time about the codes, you can create good fortunes. But most people don't pay attention. A lot of people, we were just talking about that earlier, a lot of people just live life, and whatever comes, so do. You know, in other words, whatever happens, they accept it as part of the suffering and part of the punishment. You don't have to accept that punishment. You don't have to accept that suffering. You can actually change your life by knowing the codes. This is the purpose of reading and dedicating yourself. This code has been tested on 50,000 people and it has never failed. So now, if they know the code ahead of time, they can actually create a wonderful child.
So Swami, having moved to the other hurdle of having a proper child now, we now have to create wealth because now we have to provide for our children.
Exactly.
Now, how can we provide for our children? What can we do to create this wealth now?
Well, first of all, you would have to understand what you call the rhythms of the universe. Every businessman should understand the rhythms of the universe, because if he doesn't, he will not know when his profits are slow or when profits are fast. But it's the same thing. Every year, every month, every day has a different codes. And what you do now is, if you really want to, for example, do a business, let's say, or try to do some effort to play the lottery or get wealth or do something. If you do it at a precise time, with timing and so on, money will never be a problem. Money will be. But you know, people don't do that. They just get their money, they take it to the bank, and then they're hoping that it will build interest. But if you know that, okay, you can take that same paycheck that you're getting and you put it in the bank on a certain day, or you decide that you want to buy things on a certain time only when it's cheap, right? There are certain days that can make you have bargains and so on. So all that can make you save money and make more money and so on. If you decide to invest in something, invest in some market or something, and you invest at the right time with the right code and so on, now you can make wealth, create wealth. So we create wealth, and we also create poverty. Don't tell me God brought poverty, because God didn't bring poverty. We created it, right? How we created it? Because we decide, okay, we're going to have a credit card. Who created credit? So this young lady came to see me. She says, Swami, look, I have a lot of credit. I built up a lot of credit. Can God save me from this credit? And I said, no, hold it. God didn't create credit in the first place. You created that credit. So therefore, you're responsible for that, right? So you have to understand from what you're pointing out, that we are the creators of our destiny. We are the creators of our life.
So we can create poverty in our life, or we can create
Wealth in our
life.
Yes.
So Swamiji, you have books that can actually tutor people along this line?
Yeah, for example, we have a location code book here. This location code book is, you'll find that this book tells you about the houses. It's a very simple book. It's less than 100 pages, but there's no. It's not a novel. It's going to go right into it and tell you, listen, what is your code? What is your birth date? What is the number of the house? What is the number of your location where you are, and so on? And it tells you how that location is affecting you, whether it's going to make you wealthy, whether you're going to make it poor, whether you're going to make it happy, whether you're going to have happiness, whether somebody's going to get sick there. This book, the location code book, actually is a very practical book. And you'll find you can test it out. You can go and check the location code, check here, and you'll find it describes the house exactly as it is. Now, all because everything has a coordinate, Joe. In other words, you were born when the sun and the moon was at a certain angle, and that forms what you call a vector, a resultant force. And that vector became your beginning of your life. So when we say birth date, we're not talking about the complete month, day, and year. We're talking about the month and the day only. And the reason why is because you were born in a certain month and a certain day, which is when the sun and the moon was a certain degrees. So that becomes your beginning point, and then once the sun starts to orbit the earth starts to orbit the sun, it forms what you call the spiral of your life.
So Swamiji, you have a book for every aspect of a person's life.
Yes, we have the location code book. We have also what you call the health code book. We also have a life code book that tells you about your life and so on. And we also have a patra that we produce for the pundits and so on. And we also have a book based on your actual code. For example, if you add March 2nd, and you'll get 3-2, which is 5. And we have actually a code on you. If you're number 5 or you're number 4 or you're number 6, we have a book for you. So on Tuesday, we plan to really have all these books available.
So explain, you have the Great Health book. Explain that book. Where is the origin of the information you got to create this book, and how can that book be beneficial to people?
Well, Secret of Great Health is really, it says without doctors, without medical treatments, right? In other words, you can actually treat yourself from your ordinary kitchen products. Right, and these days you see Dr. Oz and you see that, all of these doctors on TV talking about turmeric and which is a Indian dye or Indian hardium, and then you have Dr. Oz talking about curry and all of these things. What happens is that you'll find that these natural products can actually cure you. This book tells you how you can cure a lot of things like cancer and back pain and headache and so on without having to go to the doctor. In other words, you don't need drugs and medical treatment for your diseases. Now, why is that? Because your body has a natural curing ability, which people don't do. As soon as they get a headache, they run to the doctor. Why is the purpose of a headache? The purpose of a headache is really to tell you that something is wrong with your body. So what happens now is that you now take this natural stuff and cure yourself. For example, an apple cures stomach pains instead of Alka-Seltzer and Andrews.
So people tend to deal with effects rather than cause.
Right. And how it's related to code is that every code has a certain disease attributed to them. For example, a code number 2 will never have diabetes unless they really overdo it. A code number 9 has to drink a lot of water, gallons of water every day, because their body functions on more liquid. A number 6 person cannot eat red meat or cannot eat most meat because they will have back pains and cancer and all these things. So as you can see, this book actually helps you with the code also to know your health.
So I'm going to say, you're very interesting, called Challenging Temptation. I keep looking at the title. Define what that book really is all about.
This book is called Challenging Temptation, and if I turn it around, you'll see that it says Kalbairo versus Shiva. There's some confusion among people about Hinduism, and this is not only Hinduism, but it occurs in most other religions and so on, where people think that killing a chicken or killing a goat or offering rum and cigarette and alcohol and so on to a deity will actually help them get rich. In some cases, it does do that very quickly, but very quickly it also takes back karma, which is that it starts to give you suffering and so on, and make you start having problems in your life and so on. So some people, it's like you're doing something fraudulent to get money, and then when you do get the money and you get the riches and so on, then the police comes and takes it all away. The court comes and takes it all away. But it's the same thing we do in our life. In other words, what we do is we do quick worship, what you call quick fix. And we figure, okay, if we kill the chicken or we kill the goat, we'll get rich quick, we'll get what we want, our desire faster. But later on, the gods come in as the policemen, and they pull you up, they take away everything, and you're back down to the ground. You know, like O.J. Simpson.
So you have to go back to God all over again.
You have to go. Well, this book tells you about all the different things that happens to you. Like, for example, when you're involved in all these sacrifices, spirits will sleep with you and things like that, and spirits come and disturb your life and so on. So it's nice to go to these kind of worship and so on, and get the money, but the repercussions, the suffering is tremendous. It takes away your children, it makes your parents die early, it makes you die early in your life, all these things. So this book, we're going to have it on display at the place, and we will spend some time explaining this at that time at the launching of the
Swamiji, we're going to take a call in a few minutes, but you printed, how many books have you published so far?
We've published over 100 books.
No, how many different titles?
Different titles, yes.
Well,
We're going to have them all.
What prompted you to do this and to continue to?
We're continuing our publishing. The reason why is because people are grasping for information these days. We're coming to 2012. It's the end of the cycle, end of the age. I'm sure everybody's been hearing about the world coming to an end, and you're going to die in a few months, especially coming on to December 31st. You're going to see that people are getting more scared, and they think that the world's going to come to an end. Now, how can the world come to an end? If you die tomorrow, does it matter whether the world comes to an end? Because it's your world they're talking about. They're not talking about the world as a planet, or it's talking about your world. When the sun goes down, we all go to sleep. But on the other side of the world, the sun is rising. So half of the world goes to sleep, and half of the world goes to wake. So there can never be one common thing happen to all of us at the same time. So whoever coming up with this science, it's ridiculous, really, because there's no such science. Where the universe, all of us can die at the same time. That never happens. All of us don't go to sleep at the same time. For example, every hour, half of the world is waking up and half of the world is sleeping. This happens continuously. So there's no way that the world in general can end, but your world can end. In other words, if you remember Hurricane Sandy and Hurricane Andrew and all of these different hurricanes, you'll find that when the hurricanes happen, in one block of houses, they only affect one house, and they don't affect the rest of the houses. Why? Because that's the coordinate, that's the code that makes that universe says, okay, this is the end of you, this is the end of that person. Why? Because that person has not made any benefit to the world. If you really don't want to die on December 31st, you have to find some way you can benefit the world. Because if you are beneficial to the world, you will not get the storm in your life, you will not get the earthquakes in your life, and you will not have all the different things in your life. So it's very important that you understand that it's not the end of the world, it's just the end of old knowledge and the bringing of new knowledge. So I have published these books because there's a grasp for knowledge. The people want knowledge. People want to know who they are, where they come from, why they're here, what's the purpose of life. Am I going to die before 2012? What's going to happen after 2012 and so on. So the new age is coming. Americans are talking a great deal about the new age and so on. I'm surprised that Guyanese are not making such a big deal out of it, but it is a big deal. And therefore, people are going to learn about the new age and how things are going to happen to their life and so on. All of these things are going to help you. Now, the books that I produce have talked about 2012, things like that, and also what countries will be affected and so on. There are certain codes for every country. Certain countries can be affected, especially the I countries. The I countries are like Iraq, Iran, Indonesia, India, China, all of these places are going to be affected in 2012 in the new age and so on, because they all have the eyes in them. Israel and so on. If you notice, Israel recently had the war again in 2012. So publishing these books, Joe, is helping people to alleviate the fear of having to think that their life is going to end. Because if you think your life is going to end, you're not going to want to save your money. You're not going to want to put any money in the bank. You're not going to want to buy a car. You don't want to, you don't want to take a trip here. You're going to live in fear. My books will take you out of that fear.
So you have these books are written in very common languages.
Common language and regular English.
A young child can basically understand.
Oh, I have 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds reading my books, and they're understanding their life. In fact, some of the 12-year-olds and so on have read my books and make their school exams better. They've passed their exam, they've topped their schools and so on. So I have lots of Spanish children who are...
Is this magic or is this a science?
It's all science, it's all simple. Life is very simple. The way of life, just do simple things to make life better, but interesting. In other words, meaningful.
But what is the science? What is the science? What it is? How it is you're taking these numbers to create bliss in one's life?
Because as we get closer to this new age, we also come to something called quantum science, which is quantum mathematics. Well, Vedic mathematics is close to quantum mathematics. So as we get closer to age, the science of the universe is now based on consciousness. Consciousness is what it's all about. In other words, the consciousness of the tiger to eat the deer. That's his consciousness. But the deer's consciousness is to run away. It's the same thing. If you know your consciousness, what your purpose is, what your consciousness should be, right? You can live a better life. You can live a more fulfilling life. Well, scientists are now looking into what you call quantum physics or quantum science, where they want to determine what is consciousness and so on. And they're researching for this. Dr. Deepak Chopra and many other physicists have their YouTube videos talking about consciousness and so on.
Well, but consciousness can be created if you are aware, and these books creates an awareness.
Right, it creates an awareness because if you're aware that the year is going to be a year where your boss is going to give you extra work, your consciousness now will know that ahead of time, so it presents a better preparation, and you're not so unhappy after all when he gives you the work, right? If you know that your wife is going to have a baby next year, you're not going to be surprised when she tells you you're pregnant. So the consciousness of being aware of it settles your mind and makes you happier.
So the more information you have about your life, it may give you a better understanding, and you'll be able to make a better choice as to what is right or wrong. We've seen people have bad diets, eating rice and flour for dinner, for instance, which can cause them to be diabetic. If they're aware that if they did not do that, they would not become diabetic, then they live longer.
Right, and in these modern times, if you're not conscious of the fact that you're eating a lot of, like for example, in the old days, we used to eat one chocolate a week. Now people, they're so predominant in chocolate, there's so much chips and chocolate in the market that everybody's eating it constantly. So their consciousness are changing. And the consciousness of that changing is creating the consciousness of diabetes and all of these other things.
So once they're aware of the consequence of their action, they would make a better choice, a more informed decision was what is right and wrong.
And this is why...
And these books give them that information.
Right, this is why we have disasters.
In every aspect of their life.
Yes.
Not only in diet, but also their marriage partner.
We have a marriage code, we have a Vedic sexual code book, we have in your love life, in your sex life and so on, you can actually work out the codes that will make you sexually happy and so on. So all of these things here I have developed in the last 20 years. So I'm bringing it to Guyana. I really love my country, and I
these
would
books
like
will
to...
be available at the launching at the Humaniana on Tuesday. Swamiji will be at the Humaniana from 11 o'clock, but actually these launching of these books will be at 5 p.m. Swamiji will be able to tell whoever attends, and I hope all of Guyana, most of Guyana can come and to listen to Swamiji as he explains and elucidate on the contents of these books and how valuable it is to one's life. Swamiji, the phone is on the ringing, and you think we should take
Yes,
some
we
calls?
can make some calls.
So we'll
I'm
take
always
some
happy
calls.
to answer questions and so on.
So
and then
we'll- So you can call the number and you can ask Swamiji any question and he'll be very happy to answer you.
Hello, you're in the air. Hello.
Good night.
Good night. What's your name? Just tell me your name and your birth date.
Savina, and it's the 25th of April.
25th of April.
Yeah.
You have a good heart, Savina, right?
Yes.
Yes, you're a very kind-hearted person. You can't say no easily to your friends and so on.
Yeah.
And this is a very lucky year for you. I think you're buying something expensive.
I'm buying something expensive.
Yes, I see some extra money in your hand.
Okay.
So it's a good year to take advantage of that. And as far as creating what you want, you're a person, you love sweets.
Yes.
And also you're not going to get the diabetes unless you really overdo it. But as far as you like comfort, love is your test and so on in your life. So this is a good year, and you will do very well in your money section, okay, in your financial section.
Okay, so what about the life code? How would I know what is my life code?
Your life code is number 2.
2?
Yes. So
What
when you
number that would-
come, you'll get a life code number 2 book.
A number 2 book?
Yes.
How would you know what that code matches when it comes to relationship, finance, and stuff?
Well, what happens is that in the book it will tell you that the 2 on a certain year you'll have money, and certain year you will have to save money, or you will have to stop spending and so on, or when you can get bargains and so on. It helps you financially that way. You take the number 2 and you will add it to certain things like the day and the month to tell you when is the right time to buy something and so on.
Okay.
That's how it works financially. But also it tells you number 2 people are usually people who like to save money.
Yeah.
So I know you have a good savings, Sabrina.
But Swami, that's a good question, and I know you're trying your best to answer because we don't have time.
Yeah.
But whoever have a question like that and other questions, you will very well serve you to buy these books, to come to the launching, and to pick up these books because you can answer that question and other
Yeah,
questions.
these are not books, these are like manuals. So actually you can use it to answer your question, which is to help you financially, to help you with health and everything.
Okay. All right.
Right, so
Okay, thanks for the call, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, good night. Yes, Swamiji, so we'll take another call.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, good night.
Good night, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
Sharon,
Sharon? Sharon means somebody who likes shopping a little bit. Okay, and when is your birthday, Sharon?
the 27th of September.
The 27th of September? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you have a lot of energy, Sharon.
Yes?
Okay, you can stay up late, like you do now. Okay.
Yes, I do.
You always question things, Sharon.
Yes, I want to ask a question too about quantum physics.
Oh, I would love to have that question. What's the question? About quantum physics, you said?
Yes, quantum physics.
Yeah, what do you want to know about the quantum physics?
I want a little more detail on it. How does it apply to everyday life and relating with people and
Okay,
bringing
good question. Good question.
persons,
Okay.
bringing one, help me to be a better person in dealing with persons.
Well, here's the thing on quantum physics. You have to remember what regular physics is. Regular physics is about the atoms and the electrons
It's the dynamic of, yeah.
and the dynamics of the mechanical stuff.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
quantum physics goes a little bit further.
Mhm.
What it does, it talks about the mind and how you are the creator and how you can create the world the way you want it to be. Quantum physics deals with more of what you call the inner mind, the consciousness, and the small things within. For example, it talks about the balance of the world. For example, if somebody in South Africa was to burn a building,
Yes.
how it will affect you here in Guyana.
Yes, yes.
Quantum physics is designed to deal with everything through your mind.
Minute details.
Yes, and it gives you more control over the universe around you.
Okay. You have books on that too.
Yeah, we are right now we're writing a book called Exact Universe, which is all about quantum physics. It's not finished yet, but it's going to be finished in about a month or so. And that will be available. But if you go to my website at swamiram.com,
Mm-hmm.
you will find a lot of information on quantum physics that I've written already. So if you go to, do go to swamiram.com, go to yogiphysicist.com,
Yeah.
And yogiphysicist.com has a lot of information on quantum physics and so on.
Okay.
that we're dealing
Thank
with.
you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and this is great. I think
Yes.
this program should be rerun in the morning hours when there's more people up and about so they can listen and pay keen attention to this. We need this type of interacting.
Yes, the world needs it now.
Especially dealing with each other.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you're into quantum physics. I'll let Mr. Sharma know that he needs to rerun this program.
Yes.
I like your question of quantum physics because you're a very active mind person. You get bored easily.
Very good.
So this quantum physics becomes an interesting subject for you.
Stimulates,
Yes, it stimulates me actually.
Yes, I am glad that you're into it, and that will make your mind your life more meaningful.
Yes, it does. Anyway, thank you very much, and I think I know, in fact, that I will be at your opening, your show and your presentation. I barely heard when it's going to be on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we'll be there from 11 o'clock. If you want to talk to me, come. And then 5 o'clock, we'll have a speech and so on about the books and so on.
Okay, so it's the entire day.
It's almost the entire day, yes.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to see you, Swami.
And you have a lot of responsibility coming in your life right now, and plus you have some frustration. So it's going to end in 6 months. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So you got a quantum view of the future.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
That's all. It's very interesting. A very interesting.
Yes, that's very
caller.
interesting.
And
I like that. I like that people are interested
she stimulated
in
you and
quantum
you were able
science.
to.
Yes.
That's a very high level of discussion. Even though it was a bit. That's another call in.
You're on the air. Who's this? You're on the air. They have their radio. They have the TV on. Take the other one.
Good evening.
Yes, you're in the air.
Very good night to you.
Good night to you. What's your name?
Keith, the 10th of March.
Keith means a friendly guy. Okay. When is your birthday, Keith?
The 10th of March.
10th of March. So you're a really hard-working guy, aren't you?
Yeah, very industrial.
Yes, you're very industrial, very hardworking, very, very dedicated to your work and so on. Had some rough times last year or earlier this year, and things are about to change now for the better.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, and you're supposed to get a promotion soon or something. Something is happening there on that side. You have a question?
Well, what I'm going to say, really, Almighty One continue to bless, guide, and protect you in everything that you do, sir.
Well, I'm glad to hear from you, but continue your hard work, and remember now, you always have sometimes balance of income and expenses almost equal. You try to pinch a little bit and save, and you're a builder. You're called a builder. So in quantum physics, you'll be a builder. So you like to build things. So you build it slowly. So don't worry if it takes longer, but you get there.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
to see you the book launching on Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Okay, Keith.
I'm
We'll see
sorry
you.
about it, right?
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then,
Yes. We could
hello. Hello. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Good evening.
Who's this?
Good night.
Good night. What's your name?
Good night.
What's your name?
Miss Karina.
Sabrina. Sabrina, that's a nice name. It means somebody who likes nice things. Okay. When is your birthday?
The 10th of April.
The 10th of April.
Yes.
Now, you're a hard person to convince. You have to be convinced before you believe in something. Isn't that true? Yeah, you don't trust very easily. Can't hear.
Yeah. I think we have a connection.
This year, you are in a very good year. In fact, things are much better this year than before.
Yeah, I think you need to turn your TV down.
Can you turn your TV down,
Feedback.
Okay.
Sabrina? Because it's feeding back here.
Yeah, I turned it off.
Okay, I can hear you better now. So yes, you're a very smart person, and your test in life will be love. Love will be your test, and you trust. You have to trust people, easily and so on, and you don't trust people easily. But recently, things have been going a little bit better, considering about a year ago, things were a little bit rough. But things are going to get better now. Love is in your life, or love is coming into your life. You have any questions?
The first book, which is my
Your life code is number 5. So you will get a number 5 book when you come.
okay.
And it will tell you, for example, what's going to happen in a month, what will happen in a day, what happened in a year. It will tell you about your life a little bit for the next 10 years and so on. So you'll be able to guide yourself with that, because it shows that good things are coming up, and you're going to need a guide like that, because you want to know when to buy the right things and so on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
God bless. Swamiji, so we've heard some calls. You want to take a few more calls?
I'll take a few more calls because people have interesting questions.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
What's your name?
Siobhan.
Siobhan. That means somebody who think a lot.
Yep.
That means who worry a lot too. Okay. When is your birthday?
The 12th of February, 1978.
12th of February. That's Lincoln's birthday. That's a very great birthday. People who gets bored very easily, who likes changes, or who likes to travel,
Yep.
and so on, and who doesn't like to stay in one place. They're always moving. Okay. And you don't trust people easily. You have to kind of see before you trust them and so on, or be convinced. Okay, this is a very good year for you. You are doing very well, much better than 2 years ago. So is that correct?
Yes?
Yes. And any special questions you have?
Really, question. I'd like to know if you can, what's in the future for me next year?
Good things. Are you married?
Yes, I am married.
Okay, but it shows that the love is getting stronger a little bit.
Know that.
Okay, and you have children?
I have one daughter.
Yes, but I see another one coming up.
Really?
Yes.
And I'm hoping for that.
Yes. Are you still getting the back pains?
Yes, especially when I stand a lot.
Okay, so here's what you need to do. You need to correct that by staying away from meat a little bit, because somehow you are born under this angel that doesn't like meat.
Okay.
So you have to ease up the meat, because it's causing you to have cramps and back pain.
Yes, I do have.
And as long as you have those cramps and back pain, it'll be very little chance of getting pregnant. So you have to ease up the meat, my suggestion, just to stay away from meat for a month maybe or so, and all fish and chicken and so on. And then avoid red meat completely in your life.
Okay.
That will do it, because then those cramps will go away, and you have to avoid black clothes. Don't wear black clothes, okay? Because it causes the back pain.
Oh, okay.
Now you see what we have done here, Siobhan? We haven't done anything magical. What we have done is we have tell you what colors are affecting you, because remember, colors are energy, so they affect your bone and your body and your thinking and so on.
Okay.
And then that's why we tell you about the black clothes. And then another thing also, I told you about the meat, because what happens is red meat is really your own meat. So when you eat red meat, you're eating yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
So actually, red meat goes and throws a jackhammer into the back and.
Yes, because I have terrible back pains.
Yeah, well, what you need to do is hold your knees and make yourself in the ball and roll on the floor. That's a yoga exercise that you can use. But the thing is, if you come on Tuesday, we can talk a little more. I'll see.
Where is it?
It's a Yana Center next to Pegasus Hotel.
Okay, can you say my husband's horoscope?
Yeah, what's his birthday?
The 14th of September, 1969.
Oh, you're soulmates.
Yes.
Oh boy, you met your soulmate.
Yes.
That's amazing. Because he's number 5 and you're number 5, so you're soulmates.
Okay.
That means
That's why we get along so nicely.
Yeah. He can't leave you. I can tell you that, and you can't leave him.
I know that.
There's
I know.
no separation here, Siobhan. Okay, you're gonna have a wonderful life, and as long as he doesn't become too bossy, which he does,
Yes, he is.
and you don't become too bossy, which you do. Okay.
I'm on the right nail.
Yes, you have done some good things. So the gods have blessed you again with
I know that.
with your husband from the past life.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Siobhan.
Good, bye-bye.
So Swamiji, with this meeting your soulmate, you can actually determine this based upon birth.
Right. You see, now if you met a number meets the same number, that means you're married in past life. If you're the same code and you meet another person with the same code, that means you're married in past life.
Swami, the books don't have all this information, obviously.
The books have this information. Our Vedic sexual code book, which is not a sexual book, it's really a marriage book. and it actually tells you about your life and so on. But this code, once you match it, right, you are able to tell whether they're going to do well or not. For example, in this case, she's a 5, and he's a 5. But when you match it, they're soulmates. But when you match it, it comes out to a 1, which is 5 and 5 is 10, and you add 1 and 0, 1. It means that they're bossy. That bossiness can ruin the relationship. So here again, each one needs their own independence. Each one needs to be given their space. So once you give each other space, that relationship will never have a problem.
So Swamiji, you obviously will explain this more when people come to the luncheon. You'll be able
Yes,
to fully
we'll have a lecture on these things and so on.
enlighten people as to exactly what
Yeah.
can help the relationship and what can
Right.
cause it to go sour.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so actually, you can see. Let's take another call. These are good questions. That
Good evening.
you're on the air. What's your name?
Ina?
Mina?
Irina.
Hirina.
Yeah.
Hirina, somebody who likes expensive things.
Aye.
Okay, when is your birthday, Hirina?
25th of December?
25th of December is Christmas Day.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so you're a Christmas Day girl.
Yeah.
Okay, that means you're very bossy and you're very independent. You have a mind of your own, and you worry too much sometimes about certain things.
That's true.
Okay, I'm happy to tell you that the earlier this year you had some frustrations and everything. They're going to end soon.
How soon?
Oh, I know, you can't wait, right? Right after December 25th.
Just after my birthday?
After your birthday, right?
For my birthday?
Yeah, that's a good birthday present.
That's a good birthday present, right? So now you can come and get your book, you're number 1, but, and you like to achieve things. You like to feel that you have accomplished things.
Yes,
So if you don't accomplish nothing, you feel like your life is nothing.
that's true.
So what you need to do is you need to understand that about yourself and be able to make it work for you. And so that the book, when you come and you get the books at the launching at the Humanayana Center, you will see that's
Tuesday.
next to Pegasus.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
And tomorrow?
Tuesday.
No, on Tuesday, from 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we'll be there.
Okay.
So you can come and get a book, but you can also go to my website, also read now if you want about yourself.
What's
It's,
the website?
swamiram.com, or you can go to lifecoachseries.com, and it actually, you can look up yourself there also. It's free of charge, and then you can get the book later when you come there. So the idea is that this next year you have been thinking a lot about your life. You want to know where your life is going, what is happening to your life, what is the meaning of your life. You're thinking all of these things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, that's going on right now in your mind. So what you need to do is it's probably meant to be that you're making this call.
Okay.
Because this call is going to answer all those questions for you and so on.
Okay.
So it's very important that we get the book and so on. Okay, so come by and see us
Can I ask you one other question?
quickly.
I have a 8-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me anything about him?
Loves money, hyper, very very beautiful looking. Also will be lucky in life. You have to understand that he's going to be your guardian angels.
He is.
Okay, my dear.
Okay then, have a good day.
You can buy a book for him also when you come. Okay.
Thank you. Swamiji,
As you can see, this is fascinating science.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not going to say work. I'm going to say science.
from the questions, a lot of answers have come out, and a lot more questions as
Right.
well. And
Yeah, this is the answer. This life code is people don't realize it, but this is the new physics. This is the answer to our questions about quantum physics. Scientists are looking in the wrong place. They're looking for apples in the warm area. They should be looking at cold areas.
that's right.
Yeah, they're looking for oranges in Antarctica. That's technically the analogy of what scientists are doing right now. So they're not finding it because they're looking in the wrong places, right? And a lot of this Vedic mathematics stuff comes from ancient science of Vedic mathematics, which is where you can calculate things faster. But scientists have completely ignored that. And the reason why they ignored it, because somehow they think Pythagoras mathematics was the solution to all of it. Pythagoras mathematics did come in handy, remember. Pythagoras mathematics came in handy when it helps the world now, up to this point. But up to this point, Pythagoras mathematics no longer is helping. Right? We already know how to calculate $100 and $1,000 and $1 million and so on. How about calculating our happiness?
That's right, and there's a lot of questions about that.
Right.
All great creators have created all sorts of inventions. They've come up with all kinds of
Right.
formulations.
Right, and the Pythagoras
maths,
mathematics has been used for
chemistry,
that.
biology,
Right.
but they have not come up with something that can find happiness within
Within
oneself.
oneself,
That
exactly.
is choosing a good husband,
Exactly.
good wife, having proper children, creating
Yes.
happiness in terms
People are
of
still
joy in
unhappy.
life.
We have
Exactly.
the cars, we have the skyscrapers,
and still-
we have
still depressed.
the spaceship and the satellite and the cell phone, but we don't have happiness. And the whole idea is that quantum science is all about that.
So these books provide the answer
Yes.
for the happiness that they don't have.
And Sharon did ask about what is quantum science really different from quantum physics, from regular physics. But quantum physics is different from regular physics because in the sense that quantum physics addresses the inner, the real self within, and how the brain is generated, how the chakras are generated within you and so on.
So we have 3 minutes. If you can wrap up and we can just.
Okay, well, with great love, with great respect, I really want to thank all of you for listening. This has really been interesting. I always find it very interesting when people ask these real good questions. And I think that people out there are gasping for knowledge. They're gasping for knowledge. Everybody is eager to learn about their self and how they can make themselves happy, and still have the cell phones and the Mercedes-Benz and the BMW and the big house and cars and so on. So with great love, with great respect, I want to welcome you to Life Code series, which is also can be called quantum science. And also it refers to the fact that it can make you happy within immediately. So with great love, I want to welcome you again to this great science, and I hope to see every one of you on Tuesday at the Humanayana Center. I will be there personally. You can ask me questions, you can ask me anything you want about your life, and I will be there to help you.
Yeah, so Swamiji will be at the Umayana on Tuesday, the 11th December, from 11 o'clock until 5, and the launching actually takes place at 5 p.m. So I would urge you to come, take this opportunity to meet Swamiji. He's a very enlightened soul, and if you can't buy the books, at least you will have the opportunity to peruse them, to read them, to look at them, take some information out of them, and perhaps you can apply them to your life.
Yeah,
And if you can afford them, they are available at the other stores. Major big stores have them available.
Satro stores will have the books,
And
right?
so you don't have to necessarily buy them at that time, and then you can always use information to create greatness and bliss in your life. Swamiji, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming to Guyana, and thank you for this great information.
Yes, I'm only going to be here for a
this
few
nation
days.
and the world at large.
Yes, and I'm hoping that Guyana becomes the pivot from where all of this quantum science answers spread to the world.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Okay.
God bless you all, and thank you for
Namaskar.
coming into our program this evening. Thank you so much. God bless you.